Broadcasting live from the Capital OTB studios, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Good morning and welcome to Racing Across America on this Saturday morning. It's snowy Saturday morning here in upstate. I was going to go for a run in the park. I didn't go. I said I went for it. No, I was going to go for a run in the park yesterday, sitting working at the computer most of the day. Hadn't looked out the window. Went to the door and looked at it. Snow? What? Come on. So I skipped my run. But, yeah, it's too early for this stuff. But we will look to warmer climes today, as we'll look a little warmer anyway, down at Churchill today with a big day down there. Stars of tomorrow as they wrap up their fall meet, really wrap up the fall meet and wrap up for the year, as they'll be heading to Turfway next week. Joe Kristufek will be heading to Fairgrounds next week as well, but he is at Churchill doing his yeoman's work as usual with Tony and the team down there, pre-game and pre-race commentary, and so thought we'd reach out to Joe before he made the move south and talk a little Stars of tomorrow. Joe, good morning.
Yes, Seth, good morning. I mean, it's wintry in Louisville, too. I don't know if you saw the signal at all yesterday, but I was bundled up in the paddock. I'm going to be bundled up again today, but you know, the action kind of warms everything up because this is, you know, top 5 favorite day of the year for sure. Not only talking about just Churchill or Fairgrounds or Ellis, the places I work, but just nationally. You know, the stake races are so good. The undercard races are so good. There's so much work that goes into, you know, really thoroughly handicapping a card and analyzing a card like this with all the pedigrees, the workouts you try to watch, the replays you try to watch. It's fun work, but it's a lot. It's a little bit overwhelming, but hopefully it'll pay off in the long run. And a lot of these horses are going to wind up being the stars of the future. That's why we call it Stars of Tomorrow. Yeah,
aptly named, and I've said it for a long time now. I think both fall meets produce nice 2-year-olds that are worth watching when the calendar turns, but particularly this second fall meet and this day, obviously, with the name and the 2-year-old action, will produce runners, not just the stakes races, but the undercard races. Some horses will be wanting to watch, you know, next year as 3-year-olds. Before we get into it, what's your weather like today?
We're going to be mid-30s if we're lucky. If you watched the races yesterday, I got a feeling it's going to play very similarly. Speed was very good yesterday. If you watch the Clark, I really like Chunk of Gold going into that race, and he gave me everything he had on the lead. Magnitude was sitting right behind him. We saw Speed hold up very, very well yesterday. I expect much of the same today, so do, you know, incorporate that strongly into your handicapping. Of course, we go into it, Seth, with an idea, but you have to be able to call audibles, make adjustments on the fly, watch the early races to see how you think the middle of the card and the later races might play out. You got 12 races to get it done today.
And I was going to have you do a little recap of the Clark. So when you mentioned that, we popped up the replay. They're coming down the stretch right now. And it's Magnitude and Chunk of Gold going at it. Chunk of Gold just misses second with a horse I liked yesterday, Hit Show, who just was coming, but it was a little too late. But it was a nice performance. Certainly a 3-year-old wrapping up the season, Magnitude, heading into a 4-year-old season now with a Clark on the resume. That was a really nice performance. And the second of a couple of nice stakes yesterday, but the top 3 ran very well in the Clark yesterday.
Well, the last 3-year-old to win the Clark was Gun Runner, also for Stephen Winchell. And we all know what he went on to do in his career, and Magnitude's big, strong, natural speed. I mean, I got a feeling he's going to be primed for a really strong 4-year-old year. Steve mentioned yesterday that the Pegasus World Cup will certainly be on the radar.
Yeah, it was a really nice stake. Second of a couple lush lips. Had to work for it, but lived up to her favoritism. Speaking of which, Magnitude took action. I was kind of surprised all the action Magnitude took. Not shocked, but that was a nice field. But Magnitude gets it done at a short price, lush lips at a short price. And the pick 6 yesterday was filled with short prices, but 20 cents brought you back $940.
That just goes to show you can hit that thing on a $36, $48, $54 ticket, depending on your ticket construction, you single. Some of the morning lines, especially in that last race, a 6-1 morning line that I think went off at 8-5. There were a couple of morning lines that were off. There were several races where there were several different ways you could go. But you also had Lush Lips as an odds-on favorite within that sequence. So it paid great. It normally does that. It normally pays more than you expect it to.
Yeah, that was phenomenal yesterday. There was some buzz on Twitter, and understandably, you put in a 20-cent ticket and come up with $9.40 with a completely logical sequence. Worth taking a shot, and worth mentioning, obviously, with the meet ending tomorrow. There'll be a force out tomorrow. If it doesn't get picked up today, there should be a nice pot in there. Oh, and we talked to Kevin Kilroy last week, and now the pick six down at Fairgrounds is kind of mimicking the Churchill pick six, which I like, which is a jackpot, but pays out the majority every day.
Yeah, it mirrors the Derby City Six exactly. It's the Crescent City Six. We have the Dade Park Pick Six at Ellis, which is the exact same wagers, exact same rules, exact same 15% takeout. Nice. And I've said this before, Seth, I think it's the only jackpot wager worth playing because of what you said earlier. It pays well every day, even if multiple people hit it.
Yeah, no question. Just before we get into today, as I say, the meet's wrapping up, so I pulled up the stats from yesterday, jockey and trainer. Irad Ortiz, I had Tony on a few weeks ago, and I was speculating. I wonder how Jose felt when Irad said, "Yeah, I'm coming down to Kentucky as well," because Jose made the transition earlier, and it worked out well for him. But now Irad down at Churchill, doing well for him. Coming into the last couple of days, he leads 39-35 for the second place jockey, Jose Ortiz. So interesting. Luis Saez, Tyler Gaffalione, obviously in the mix. And on the trainer side of things, familiar names there, Brad Cox in the lead, 15-12 over Steve Asmussen, with Brendan Walsh and Joe Sharp sitting just behind. So should be a fun closing weekend on the human side as well.
Yeah, I had to make for an interesting Thanksgiving day meal conversation between the brothers and the families. And those guys better than I do, Seth. They rode in New York for a long time. They still obviously ride at Saratoga, but yeah, we've got the big four here. It's Irad, it's Jose, it's Luis, and it's Tyler, and then it's everybody else. I did a stat on the air a couple of days ago where those four riders, since the day after Breeders' Cup, because they were all gone Breeders' Cup week, have won 65% of the races at Churchill Downs.
Incredible, yeah. I would love to hear the conversation as well, or just kind of be in Jose's mind, like, well, you got to come down here and follow me. But they're obviously both riding very well. And Jose moves on to Fairgrounds again this year, right?
Yeah, I think he'll be ready to go on Thursday. Yeah. These guys don't waste any time. I think he's on the overnight in New Orleans on Thursday. He'll beat me down there by a couple days.
All right, let's get into it and go over the 2-year-old stake section for today. We'll kick things off with the Ed Brown 2-year-old sprinting 6.5. I pulled up a replay, and I think if the morning line good for Tommy Amos in the debut up at Saratoga with a nice buyer of 84 for a debut in August for a 2-year-old. Then tried the Breeders' Futurity and didn't fare as well, but cuts back today. So we're looking at the debut win by Big Dom up at Saratoga. I'm using him, but Boyd for Bob Baffert clearly will take plenty of action. Galavan I thought was interesting. Stradale also, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Fun field is 6 in here. How did you see the Ed Brown?
Yeah, just for an update, scratch the 2 and the 4, so just 4 horses left.
All right.
Big Dom, if you go to KentuckyBred.org, he was completely outworked on November the 13th by his stablemate, It's Our Time, who's certainly no slouch. We're going to get to see him on the card in an undercard race. It's a really good field of 4. The 4 that are left, they're all super talented. I can't get past Boyd, though, the way the racetrack played yesterday. Set a scorching pace, actually opened up across the finish line, being a little bit green down the lane for Bob Baffert, but was wrapped up like a Christmas gift in the final 70 yards. He's got the outside post. I think this horse is going to be a free space today if the racetrack plays the way it did yesterday.
Wrapped up like a Christmas gift. I'm stealing that. I like that. Let's move on.
Feel free to use it. Said everybody else copies things I say, so it's the greatest form of flattery. I go for it. Feel free to steal it.
I like that. I'll give you credit though.
Okay, I appreciate it.
8th race at Churchill is the Fern Creek. This one is for the 2-year-old fillies going 6.5. Pulled up a replay here of the cleverly named Paige Turner. Paige is a female first name, but Paige Turner comes off a couple of nice and improving efforts for Cherie DeVaux, including this maiden breaker last time right at Churchill on October 31st. Solemn Vow is a little bit interesting as well. A Fine Chardonnay, On Time Girl. Again, another full field. What do you see in the Fern Creek?
If you had to give me one horse to pick moving forward that I love to own, it might be a Fine Chardonnay, but just not on this day. She's a deep out the back closer. Again, if the track plays the way it did yesterday, I think you're going to want to be somewhat forward. Hats off to David and Gordo and Cherie DeVaux and their partners, but I think they're the king and queen of responsible horse naming, coming up with another clever one here. I love Solemn Vow in here, Seth. Horses improve with every single race. That run at Keeneland showed the ability to rate just off the pace after making the lead in the start prior and losing to a Fine Chardonnay, but she was a little bit green that particular day, complete professional in the most recent start, rail draw with Brian Hernandez Jr. and sitting just off the expected pace. Plus, I think she'll relish 6.5 furlongs. She won going 6 last out. 6-1 in the morning line. If we can get 4-1, 9-2, I'd be thrilled on Solemn Vow, one of my more strong opinions of the day.
All right, I like it. Again, I had that one right underneath, so no argument there. I think folks like us who watch racing on a daily basis, maybe this is the horse we're looking to check out this afternoon. It comes up in the Kentucky Jockey Club Grade 2 event, $400,000 up for grabs. This will go 8.5 furlongs. And further ado, in the third start of the career, the 2 Saratoga starts were kind of for a Brad Cox spendthrift runner, but then stretched out to 2 turns at Keeneland and just ran away and hid from that field last time at the 2-turn trip. We're watching the replay here. I'm totally intrigued to see, and I had to use that one on top off of the effort. But Dr. Kapoor, Cherokee Nation comes in for Bob Baffert, Soldier, and Diplomat. What did you see in the Kentucky Jockey Club?
Yeah, what a great race for a field of 7. I agree with you. The 2 Saratoga races were just okay, but notice the progression from 6 furlongs to 7 furlongs to the short stretch mile and a 16th. You guys are looking at the replay. I mean, he did everything right, shown the whip down the stretch, huge on the gallop out as monster potential. But there are some fast horses drawn to the inside of him. Cherokee Nation still a maiden for Bob Baffert, but you notice who he lost to by a nose, and it was a game nose down to the wire to Mr. AP, who came back and ran second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile to Ted Naufy. Dr. Kapoor, gate to wire going 7 furlongs. He has pedigree that does suggest that he'll stretch out just fine. He might be the speed of the speed. And then as easy as further ado one, what about Soldier and Diplomat? I know that he didn't run all that well in the hopeful after showing speed, but man, he just drew off in the blink of an eye in that 1-turn mile race here on October 26th. Not sure that the pedigree is going to want, further than a mile and a 16th moving forward, but over a racetrack that's likely going to favor speed, he's going to get an up-close trip, and he won just so easy last time that it's tough to ignore him either.
Yeah, I think it's a fun field, and I am very intrigued to see if further ado can put a couple together. And we wrap things up in the Goldenrod, the Kentucky Jockey Club, obviously for the boys, the 2-year-old girls in the Goldenrod at a mile and a 16th. And I pulled up a replay here of Life of Joy, going back to the Rags to Riches. So already a nice stakes winner for Brad Cox, 2 for 2 in the career, including this stakes win we're seeing. So that one's intriguing. Explora, as you were talking and mentioned an earlier scratch, I pulled up the scratches. Unfortunately, Explora out after the nice try in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies for Bob Baffert. But I thought Let Me Count the Ways was interesting for Mike Maker, 2 for 2. And a Tropa for Cherie DeVaux off the big win last time. But what did you see in the Goldenrod?
My strongest opinion here, Seth, is I'm against the Rags to Riches horses. I'm against Life of Joy.
Okay.
Good Cheer maybe looks stupid a few times too, and maybe she's similar to her for Brad Cox, which means I'm also against the Grumpy Rabbit on the outside. You tell me. I mean, I watched the replays of Let Me Count the Ways. I was extremely impressed. We saw Awesome Check, a New York bred, run a really good second in a stake here the other day. how impressed were you with this horse based on the company she faced? Because she's got speed, and I'm extremely intrigued by her.
Yeah, I never discount a New York bred, but with horses that are lightly raced like this, and given that, the stakes races for 2-year-olds these days, many of them are lightly raced, it's hard to know exactly what to make of it, but what can you say? She hasn't done anything wrong so far for Mike Maker, and lived up to the Yalpon sire as being a win early sire on the breeding side of things. So I have her in the mix. There's no question about it.
Yeah, you got to be a little bit concerned with distance moving forward, but again, she's got the speed, and just pay attention to the track. Atropa won for fun for Cherie last time. Got spooked by something in the stretch. I don't know if it was the whip or what, but she was already up by so many lengths that, she's got a little bit of professionalism that needs to get ironed out, but she's a huge prospect moving forward. And then Bella Ballerina for Brendan Walsh is the other one, another one that did everything right. She's a sibling to Pretty Mischievous, a former Kentucky Oaks winner and multiple graded stakes winners. So she's got the pedigree behind her as well. And what a dream year it's been for Brendan Walsh and Godolphin. Yeah. Obviously, this could put a little bit more icing on their 2025 take.
Which barely needs more icing, as you alluded to. It's been a great year for him, no question about it. Yeah, it's a fun day. I love the 2-year-old racing. People who watch enough know, because you can, as you said earlier, you look up the breeding, the pedigrees, and you can find a little something that's not on the page necessarily, and maybe find a little something sneaky on the card, and you have all day to do that today at Churchill on Stars of Tomorrow. Joe, appreciate your taking the time here on a big day down at Churchill. Again, closing weekend. Wish you and everybody down there the best. I continue to say it. I had Kevin Kilroy on from Fairgrounds last week, and I had, as I say, Tony on a few weeks ago, and I tell those guys, I really enjoy you guys in the pregame show. You've added elements that have been picked up by other entities as well, but it's fun to watch. You guys do a great job, so keep it up over the weekend, and safe travels down to Fairgrounds next week, and we will certainly check in during the Fairgrounds meet with a great 3-year-old trail, boys and girls to the Derby and the Oaks and beyond. So appreciate the visit this morning.
Yeah, looking forward to Gun Runner Day, the Road to the Derby kickoff December 20th at Fairgrounds. And thanks for the compliment, Seth. We all put a lot of work in. We're all very passionate about what we do. And especially on a card like this, especially if we use DRF Formulator, watch every replay, take every trip note you can. These horses are going to be dispersing now to Florida, to Fairgrounds, to Oaklawn, to Turfway. And if you've got good notes and you know how strong these races were and what any potential biases were, you can really do well with these horses down the road that maybe had sneaky trouble trips or ran well against the bias like Hit Show did yesterday. This is a great card to just dissect. Take the time to do that from top to bottom. Yeah,
workouts are more available now than they have ever been, and I think that's becoming a nice tool that, again, a lot of people jump in and use, but a lot of people don't, so maybe gives folks an advantage. And just quickly, I have it on my rundown here. I made a note. Always like to let you talk a little bit about your partnership, Brilliant Racing. Over the years, have some local folks involved, but anything from Brilliant Racing we should be paying attention to coming up?
We only got 2 horses left, Seth. We won with Spider Woman, one of my favorite wins of the partnership a couple of weeks ago. She won an 80 non-2 claimer at Churchill with a big purse and was very professional in doing so. So proud of her. We brought her back on 2 weeks earlier this week. She got off to a bad start and had a wide trip and an allowance race and didn't get to show what she's capable of showing. And then we got her going to Turfway. We got Dual Guru down at Fairgrounds. He tried an allowance race the other day. Needed the race. He should be better next time. But, thinking about how we're going to bring about the next partnership, because I love doing it. I love being a part of the ownership game and following the process from the time we buy these horses as yearlings or 2-year-olds all the way, hopefully, to the winner's circle. So sooner rather than later, we'll come up with a brilliant 6.
All right, we'll check in and get more info on that down the road, as we will, as I say, when you get to Fairgrounds. But again, have a great weekend. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
All right, cheers, Seth. Always a pleasure, my man. Have a good weekend.
Joe Kristufek from Churchill on, again, one of the more fun cards of the year anywhere in the country. For a person like me who likes the 2-year-old racing, it's all 2-year-olds today, including those nice stakes we talked about, Stars of Tomorrow down at Churchill. I was going to take a break and I have some news and notes, but I think I'll just hit on the news and notes and wind it up because I'm looking at my monitor. We were going to wind up early today because I'm expecting the pregame show at Naira to come up sooner rather than later, and they're kind of just doing the pregame stuff there. So I'll wrap it up so we can get to the pregame for Aqueduct this afternoon, which again has an early start. So an early start to the pregame. They're 11:40 at Aqueduct today, so keep that in mind. But I did want to alert you, Aqueduct today has a pick six carryover, $20,000 in the pick six carryover. And again, I said it to Joe, if you didn't look at that pick six done at Churchill yesterday, 20 cents brought you 940, and it was a parade of favorites. So maybe look at that. I find it hard to believe it'll be as logical today with these 2-year-old races, but again, maybe worth a look there. But a carryover at Aqueduct. Also, as far as promotions and events, do want to remind you that today here at the Clubhouse Racebook, Players Bankroll. Typically in a bankroll, you sign up and I will play, or another handicapper. You know, summer we have the season-long bankrolls with Bick and Kevin Cox. So typically somebody else is playing one of the handicappers here, but the players' bankrolls are a lot of fun because you come in, you enter, you get on the team, and you make the plays. And then the team splits up the winnings at the end of the day. The last couple players' bankrolls we've had here at the Racebook, the players have done very well. So again, you can come down today, Clubhouse Racebook, and have a little extra fun with the players' bankroll. Also want to alert you that a week from today, it is a trifecta challenge, an online trifecta challenge. Usually we do them here at the Clubhouse Racebook, but next week it'll be an online trifecta challenge. You can go to the website now. The entries are open, and everybody plays. So you sign up online today, go to the website, click on the promotions link, look for the trifecta challenge link. Click on that, there's an entry form. If you enter, you're in. You will be emailed a little bit later in the week. We'll close entries probably midweek, I would think. But sign up sooner rather than later. And as soon as we close the entries, everybody will get sent all the appropriate materials to fill out your entry to be in next Saturday's Trifecta Challenge. So that should be fun as well. Online Trifecta Challenge with entries open now at capitalotb.com. All right, the graphic is up for Talking Horses. So again, with the 11:40 post time in New York, I'm going to wrap it up early, but I did want to give you a little head start on Churchill, which has a good card today. And I also, part of my notes, I don't want to forget this. It's a really nice card at Del Mar today as well, as this is their turf weekend. But the Hollywood Derby comes up today with Test Score coming out of a win in the Twilight Derby at Santa Anita for Graham Motion, and has remained out in Southern California in anticipation of trying this Grade 1 this afternoon. So it should be a fun day with some really nice stakes action. The Jimmy Durante and the Seabiscuit on the turf, also out of Del Mar this afternoon. All right, I'm going to wrap it up for Racing Across America on this Saturday morning. Seth Merrow in the studio, thanking you for tuning in. Do want to remind you that with the 11:40 post in New York, we'll, an hour or so, we'll come back to kick off OTB Live for a Saturday morning into a Saturday afternoon with, again, a lot of great stakes action across the I say a lot of great stakes action in New York today, a strangely stakes-free Saturday, but a nice card, but there are plenty of stakes around the country otherwise. So wrapping it up now, sending it to New York as they will kick off their pregame show sooner rather than later. So again, thanks for tuning in. Back shortly for OTB Live for Saturday. See you then.
Watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.